Meanwhile, at the old Xavier Mansion, Captain America asks to meet with Cyclops.
Hello, Scott.
Oof, I could have met you anywhere, Steve.
I wanted to take the drive and see the old place.
Oof, well, this can't be good. Hit me.
All right, here's the deal. The landmass of Krakoa ballooned by 500%, with a second island and satellite heat signatures indicating there are millions more mutants living in the South Pacific.
Long story.
There's more than just a panic and alarm bells in the air. There are incidents everywhere. The entire planet went DEFCON 1.
Yeah. God, you look good in that suit. I know what it must look like, Steve. I know what it must look like.
Okay, and thank you. It is new. I just got it taken in because I've been working out a little bit more. Anyway, I won't ask how it happened, but I need to know if it's permanent.
Why don't you ask me again in a few days, huh?
Okay, and also the other thing is, word around, I heard Wolverine got drinks with Spider-Woman, and she said that you guys sleep in the same bed with Jean? Is that true?
Yeah, a lot.
Like, do you guys, do stuff with each other?
Yeah, hard, yeah.
Does everyone in Krakoa do stuff with everybody?
Oh, yeah, we all went pan when we moved to Krakoa. You Avengers should try it. So you're coming to the gala, right?
I wasn't before.
Yeah.
But I am now.
Hey! All right, only I pick Wolverine.
Damn. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 184 of CBQ Legacy, That's Comic Book Queers. I'm your host, EvilJeff, and with me, as always, is Brett.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. What a great week for comics and comics-related TV. So I couldn't be better.
Fantastic. We have a lot to talk about. I think the only hot topic I have to talk about is how we forgot to talk about Loki last week.
Yeah, and that's the opposite of a hot topic.
Yeah, it's an embarrassing
really sad
topic.
News. We completely forgot last week that Loki premiered, so luckily we'll talk about the 2 beginning episodes this week.
Yes.
Just think we have a lot more to talk about. We have more Loki to talk about this week.
We have so much to talk about. So let's get to it with some... let's get to some X-Men, shall we? The Hellfire Gala is still going strong. Hit it.
3, hit it.
I want your ass.
So what a big week. A turning point, if you will, for the Hellfire Gala story.
Yes.
But we had Planet-Size X-Men, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We also had New Mutants and X-Corp.
Yes. Do you want to talk about the New Mutants thing first?
I think we need to talk about New Mutants first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we do. Because I put out some thoughtless comments on Twitter about New Mutants and kind of stepped in it and raised some ire, maybe a little rightfully so. And I think we need to talk about that and where we were coming from on that and why we should do better than that. But so New Mutants is an issue mostly centered around a brilliantly written mystery of Scout and her absence from the Hellfire Gala. But in the middle of the issue, Karma makes her appearance at the gala. And it is very clear that Karma still has a robot leg, which my first instinct is to say, but she came out of an egg. How? Why?
Yeah. Well, we talked about this before. We thought it was a mistake in the reveal when she was out of the egg.
Because, you think coming out of an egg, you would be all your biology or original biology.
Yeah.
And so I lamented the fact that she had a robot leg and realized that that's not exactly the best perspective. Also, did not know that there was a discourse on Twitter involving Vita Ayala, and they addressed it on Twitter. and said the reason why Karma still has a robot leg is because to delete the robot leg and give her old leg back felt like erasure of a disabled character, which I completely agree.
Which we never even thought of. Like, that didn't even cross our minds.
We never even thought of is a wrong thing to do. And this is where, first, this whole thing needs to be wrapped in an apology. Understanding the perspective of people who see Karma as a disabled hero, as representation, we should never take that away. And for us to say she should get her old leg back, it's just fucking wrong. And it's just fucking wrong. Where I was coming from, A, logistics, and B, you and I have known her as a character who...
with legs.
Had an injury.
Yeah.
Had a debilitating
that's
injury.
the thing is, and for us, it just seems logical that if someone has an injury and they have an opportunity to remedy that injury, that they would do it. That's just what comes naturally to us. But also, we don't live in that world as someone disabled. We can't say what that experience is like.
And as somebody who may have met Karma after the injury, or even beforehand, and sees her as a disabled hero, which she is, and sees her as representation, which she is, and wouldn't want that taken away, that is the perspective I want to defer to. Never would we advocate or advocate for the erasure of a disabled character. My God, never. Just got a whole dose of perspective that is how people see her, and that is her value, and that is how she matters. And I apologize for all the instances where I said, give her a leg, because her value is so much more than that. And so, I recognize that, and I apologize.
But I will say this, all of this discourse sounds important. I think it should be in the comic.
In the comic.
I think it would be great to have a scene where Hellion talks to Karma, what the fuck? I want to get my hands back. Why do you not have your leg back? And then she can address it being this is who I am. I would like to give the more ignorant people like us who are what the fuck's going on, to give that kind of perspective. And then you don't have to deal with the backlash on Twitter of everybody fighting with each other.
Give that conversation oxygen. I completely missed the freaking discourse that happened on Twitter a week prior to my stupid, shitty comment. If I had listened to it and been around it, or been exposed to it, I would have been oh yeah, fuck
and that is why this is Brett's I'm just doing this by myself from now on. Brett, you're canceled.
That's right.
And
goodbye, everyone. It feels great. No. Karma, keep your leg. It is fantastic that there is a disabled mutant who's got such a prominent role.
Well, there's not one. Come on. Forge doesn't have a leg. Cable doesn't have an arm. There's a lot. They should form their own.
And never would we be
team.
Forge should get killed because he can have his leg back.
I've mentioned many times about Hellion getting his hands back.
Right. Again, because we witnessed the incident, but it doesn't matter if we knew them before. They're disabled now, and that is totally fucking fine. It's more than fine. They should be represented, and fuck us. And I'm sorry, I really am. Let's get to the issue.
New Mutants.
New Mutants.
This one, it didn't seem like. It was kind of just it was just kind of showing how Danny Moonstar is kind of rising to remember how when New Mutants came back in the mid 2000s and it was oh, what's the point of this team? Why are you, and Emma was Cyclops, why did you reform this team? And he was because this is the team where we figure out who is going to be the next leader of
who
the
next X-Men are. Yeah.
Who's going to be the next leader of the X-Men?
Oh, the leader.
The leader. Yeah. And so it was between Karma and Magic and Mirage and Sunspot. And it just seems very clear that Mirage is respected throughout everywhere. Everywhere she went and talked to someone, they were oh, you're a person to be reckoned with. We know you.
Carol Danvers was oh, hey.
Yeah. And it's because of her Valkyrie roots, and just everyone, I think people, I'm interested of how much Valkyrie is still in her. Can she still see when people are dying?
I think so. I think she still has all that. She was the last remaining one. when they all were slaughtered.
Because not only that, she's also able to still generate the fears and shoot her little diamond arrows, which is stupid. But she has access to all of her powers and the Valkyrie shit. Like, she's a force to be reckoned with. And I do think it is, like, I love that I honestly am kind of like, I would have loved to see Mirage on the X-Men team.
Hell yeah, that would have been awesome. Make her an Avenger. We don't do that anymore, but she deserves status.
Yeah. Other than that, it just seemed like a lot of, like, just fun banter and look at the outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really
love
the sense. Yeah, well, I love the sense of dread that Vita created throughout this whole issue around Scout's absence. As soon as Laura was like, "Where's Scout?" in the beginning of the issue, my reaction was, "Oh, fuck. This issue is going to end with her dead body, isn't it?"
Oh, I did too, because we've already established that they don't know whether she can be brought back.
Yes. And I love that Vita went there. Like, it's no longer theoretical. Now we have to deal with the fact
because I'm sorry,
clone.
Can you imagine if they deny it? X-23,
and she's an X-Man.
X-23 is an X-Man coming, being like, "I spent 2,000 years in the vault, and you won't resurrect my sister."
Well, she doesn't know that, but yeah.
Well, she does. She doesn't remember it.
She's heard it through the grapevine.
She doesn't know the memories, but she knows that she was there that long. I'm sure she was briefed on what was going on.
Yeah, she was like, "I went through what, and you won't what?"
Like, she was still updated before she knows that she was going in the vault, and you know what I mean. She just doesn't remember inside of it. So I would be like, "Excuse me, I'm gonna go talk to Mystique, and I'm gonna help her burn this whole thing down if you don't fucking."
She's like, "I'm the Wolverine on the X-Men now. Like, don't I get any special favors?"
And then Havoc comes in like, "But Madeline Pryor, fuck your Madeline Pryor."
I mean, Madeline Pryor hurt people. Scout never did.
Okay, so let's just, as you see, like, they're leading up to this thing of where did she go? And she writes this weird letter to X-23. And at first it was like, is this a suicide note? And it's not.
Right. No.
And so
It's like, let's be sisters again.
Yes.
No.
So my thing is, it's like, was she just murdered by the Shadow King? Also, in the beginning, they're like, she's kind of immortal. She can heal. She doesn't feel pain. How did she die? And it was so hidden. It was likely the Shadow King, but was it? I don't know. I feel the only way to kill her is to turn her brain off.
Right. And his whole thing was, listen, I got rid of the Shadow King. I'm just Amal Farouk now. I'm feeling great about myself. I've never been happier. These kids came to me. I can't have you fucking it up.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, is he like not as shitty now?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, we realized you were an asshole even without the Shadow King.
Yeah. Or is he just as bad without the Shadow King?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then it's also still the fact that it's the foursome, the body dysmorphia foursome.
Yes, they found her.
Yeah, because they were trying to go through the corpses to try and take over a corpse to, like,
yes,
necromance. They want to become necromancers, which is just so weird.
Again, like, just getting into some shit. Drug addiction.
I know, isn't it? I liked it when kids used to smoke pot. My daughter's into necromancing. Ugh, the smells from her room.
My kid sniffs glue. Can you believe it? Oh, my kid married a demon. He
Sniff glue? That's not glue. That's formaldehyde. Your kid's a necromancer. Oh, no.
There's also the Warlock storyline, where Warlock is like, oh, I'm kind of, like, I feel left out of Bay and Doug's relationship. And then it feels like, they welcome a third.
Mm-hmm.
Warlock's like, hey, I can do funny stuff with food. And Bay's like, I like this.
But
and they're all cool.
Doesn't Bay don't they need a translator? Right?
Or does she like not? Right.
Can Bay understand Doug, or is it just only one way?
I don't know.
Because Doug can't understand what she's saying. I'm telling you, that means
they made progress?
I mean, I have a feeling their relationship is just completely sexual, and that can only last for so long.
Can it?
He's like, what? And she just pushes his head down to eat her out again.
Yeah.
They need the translator.
I would love it if this winds up Doug leaves Bay for Warlock. Let's do that.
Well, do you remember back in X Factor when they had a falling out because Warlock was in love with Danger, but then Doug fucked Danger.
Yes, while Danger was like trying to fuck Polaris.
That was Peter David is so good. Like Danger was just being like, there's just where she like went up to like Polaris and was like, "Would you like to have sex with me?" And she's like, "What? I don't want to be part of this conversation.
Wait.
I'm just going to walk away from this."
And the Scarlet Witch was like, "Oh, I'm flattered. No, thank you."
I was a really good run. Oh, anyway. What happened to Danger?
I don't know. What's her status on this whole island?
I mean, I will say I never liked Danger.
Me neither.
So I don't miss her, but sometimes it's nice, have things be addressed.
Yeah. Would it be great if they like just decommissioned? Moira was like, all right, first things first. Danger has to go.
All right, what's next? Shall we move on to X-Corp?
Yes. X-Corp number 2, which I thought was a measured improvement over number 1.
I will agree, but I still didn't think it was that great.
It wasn't that great still. Between them, so basically they welcome Mastermind to the board, because he can help them literally with their image, which I thought was cute.
I think that's cute, but it seems so untrustworthy and just so. I wouldn't trust Mastermind I wouldn't trust him with anything.
I mean, especially the Mastermind we saw in Hellions.
Exactly.
My God. But I do like that the whole wow, Warren, you're able to do all this without going blue. Not true. Mastermind.
Has he been doing this the whole time?
I wonder, was he doing it in issue 1?
But then when he was showering, was Mastermind sitting there in the shower?
No, I feel like it's like in the heat, like when Warren was fighting.
Oh, okay. When he gets angry. Oh, right.
He went blue. And Mastermind was like, ta-ta. No. Nothing to see here. PR.
That was pretty cool. Monet.
I do like Mastermind as an image consultant.
It is funny. Yeah, it is funny. Great. I will say Monet is a little too one-dimensional at the moment from how she is in other things I've read, especially X Factor.
I agree.
She's a little just too like Joan Collins Dynasty. Like, I'm a bitch and I have things to do.
I'm a very busy woman.
I'll
replace you with the whole board.
Exactly.
Gives a damn.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like she's a little more nuanced, especially where they gave her the thing where she has this evil anger of the penance side of her that comes out. But I don't know, there needs to be some more humanizing parts of it. And I do also feel like Monet and Matrox have such a deep, long relationship, and none of that surface. And none of that seems to be apparent in they're almost strangers. Like, I want Matrox to be like, bitch, you used to work for me. Like, you know what I mean? They're treating him like this.
Like, I deserve some respect. Like, I'm not just a
idiot. We fucked. Like, you realize, you fucked the real me and Siren fucked the fake me, and that's why I absorbed my baby. If I didn't choose you and we switched, I'd have a real baby, bitch.
I loved the Queen Amidala move that Jamie Matrox did, where he switched his Met Gala outfit with that of a dupe who was just dressed as like a typical Matrox waiter. And he was and spied on, like, that's the kind of like this book got into the more kind of corporate politics, corporate espionage, power plays that I was hoping it would get into.
Because for me,
that's what I responded to in this.
For me, I mean, I would never have thought I'd say this, but Matrox and Trinary are kind of the most interesting things.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, what?
Yeah. Monet's like, the way Monet is being written in this book feels like a drag.
And Angel seems to be very, like, until the blue thing with a Mastermind showed up, I was like, hello, Angel, are you there? Like,
Right, but he is.
Yes.
But he's hiding it.
Yes.
I did love a showering Angel.
Yeah.
I did love the like shaking the feathers out like a bird after the shower. Loved that. Never saw that with Angel before. I
know, it must be a bitch to clean.
Right?
Especially when he molts. Ugh.
Right? I want to get into that Angel. I want to get into like Angel's physiology. Like, I want to get into his hollow bones, all that.
Who has Angel hooked up with? There was Psylocke.
Candy Southern.
Psylocke. Dazzler.
Dazzler? Yeah, when?
In the Dazzler comics.
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole point where it was her and Angel, and it was when she was going up against Mystique and Rogue, were the bad guys. And then her and Angel like had a few smooches. Okay.
I mean, Psylocke was the main one.
But now I would also want to know, like, if you, so he's fucked Psylocke, but now can you imagine having a girlfriend where the girlfriend with the body that you had sex with is no longer your girlfriend, and the real girlfriend's personality is in a body that you never had sex with? It's got to be a mind fuck.
Well, he's with Quanon in that alternate dimension in Excalibur.
True.
A few issues back.
True. Well, no, wait. I thought he was with Betsy.
Oh, right. Yes. Oh, it's so confusing.
Anyway, X-Corp, your stocks aren't rising fast enough. You're not meeting the third quarter expectations, in my opinion.
Yeah, you. X-Corp falls short of Q1 expectations. Yes. I am responding to Madrox, not responding to Monet. I am responding to Trinary, almost responding to Angel, certainly not responding to Sunspot not being a part of this book. I feel like Sunspot needs to be an integral part of this book.
Well, they're using all of his money.
Come on!
Yeah. Because who are the rich people? There's Emma, Angel, Sunspot.
Emma, Sunspot.
Who else is the rich people?
Who else owns like Blank Industries?
Well, I guess Shaw.
I feel like that's it as far as like the money, the funders, the daddies.
Should we move on to Planet-Sized X-Men?
Emma's the daddy. Angel's the daddy.
Let's Planet-Sized X-Men this bitch.
Oh my God. So first of all, we were right.
We were right. Well, we didn't, I think we didn't fully predict how it was going to happen. But it is.
Not a Rocco.
Yeah. We thought the X-Men, we thought Krakoa was going to Mars, a Rocco was going to Mars.
A Rocco is going to Mars. How about that this issue, I think I did not realize Hickman was not writing this issue. It was Jerry Duggan writing this issue.
But do you think it's like scripted and planned out by Hickman?
Oh, this is all Hickman's vision, sure. Right? Don't you think so?
I think so. I think he's the showrunner.
I think he is. And Duggan, Duggan's going to write X-Men, so he's got to start like the new phase of Hickman's run.
And I was talking about, if they're going to take over, what does Magneto need to do? He needs to magnetize the core. What do they start to do? Things that make me happy is when they address like realistic scientific things. They even talked about how they enlarged the core so it would reignite its magnetic forces, and also they made it heavier so that the gravity would be the same. Like they're thinking of everything.
They're like, adults read comic books now. We have to think like adults.
And then, of course, who's on their other board is on the other council. They have all Omega level mutants, one that can terraform the whole ground. Storm is recreating the entire atmosphere because Magneto magnetized that. The atmosphere can hold in place. And then and then Iceman comes and literally with, I loved how Iceman came with hope.
Yes.
Was it just hope?
Yeah, at this point, it's just hope.
To suddenly unleash the water. Like, it's just so brilliant. It's so brilliant.
About the mutant? how about the mutant like worm dude on the Arakko Council?
Yeah.
That's like, oh, my mutant power is to become a number of tendrils that eat soil and shit out nutrients. Like,
yeah, it's very specific.
That worked out great.
Yeah, that was very convenient.
Yeah. I just love that this was all Magneto's plan. I really thought all of this was Emma Frost's plan, but really who was behind all of this was Magneto. At least he was the diplomat. He was like he was the showrunner. Like, he made it all happen.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. Literally the core of this whole thing is Magneto. The three mutants who did the ocean and the teleporting and the soil nutrient shitting, those are three members of the council. Those are like the day, like the, they're like night day, the way they organize their seats.
Dusk and dawn or something.
Yeah. Which to me just means they're great folk. They're good people.
Yeah. And they moved them off to Mars, so it's like, you can have your own fucking planet. Because all you want to do is create war. All you want to do is fight.
When I heard like Arakko was 20 times the size of Krakoa, I was like, what the fuck are they gonna do? That's insane. Now we realize it was all set up for Planet-Size X-Men, for Planet Arakko.
And not only that, they decide to make a home base that is the only place anyone outside of Mars can land. Otherwise, they're subject to Iraqi torture, I guess. I don't know.
Who knows? But you don't want to not land at Port Prometheus. Port Prometheus, by the way, was the idea of Elixir. I loved that Elixir, Quentin, and Jean were kind of like the Imagineers.
Yeah.
Like they like thought of everything. And there's that great scene with Quentin and Jean and Jamie Braddock where they literally have Jamie birth the second sword peak, the second sword station that's going to serve as the defense of Planet Arakko.
Here's the thing. Once I see that, I'm like, if you can terraform a planet, you can kill Nimrod.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because here's what I would do.
Why is Nimrod a problem?
No, here's what I would do. Take a little tiny plane, and I am sure that you can use some kind of powers to make it invisible to all radar. You drive in with you can use the same people like Jean and Jamie Braddock, fly in where you're within sight of the station. What is it called? The Forge Station? Near the sun?
Yeah. Yep,
and have Jamie Braddock blink it out of existence.
I mean, hello, they even bring up, they even have a scene where Magneto goes to see Mercator, Mr. M.
Yeah.
On his other world.
But you can't kill Nimrod?
Right. You've got Mercator, you've got Jamie, you've got Proteus. You've got Xylo, who again can like shit out nutrients. Like, you can't kill Nimrod?
Yeah, go shit some nutrients on Nimrod right now.
Shit some nutrients down his mouth.
It's one of those things where it is convenient, and this is not just true of the X-Men, it's true of every DC comic, of where, depending on which issue you are, like Superman can be crazy powerful, and then the next issue, some B-side character punches him out. And you're like, huh? Like, you know what I mean? Like, 1 minute he's like lifting up an entire building. The next minute someone punches him out.
Depends on the writer.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, guess I'm going to go with this.
I love the page where Xylo is shitting out his nutrients and he pops up and somebody created the giant statues of Apocalypse and his wife, the former Annihilation, whose name is fucking escaping me right now.
I don't fucking remember either. Oh, wait, Genesis, thank you.
The two black founders of this whole goddamn thing, like the mother and father of this whole species. Love it.
Ah, crazy. I
want more Quentin, Jean, and Jamie Braddock. Like, I want Quentin and Jean like brainstorming and then plopping things in Jamie Braddock's head, which he literally becomes pregnant with. What a scene.
It's also just so interesting watching like so many of these comics all coming together of like, who's the first person to write? Was it Grant Morrison or was it Chris Claremont that wrote Jamie Braddock first when they wrote Captain Britain?
It was probably Claremont, right? Or Alan Moore?
Oh, that's what I meant, Alan Moore. Yeah, Alan Moore. Like it could be like Alan Moore. It's just like all the different writers that came together to like bring us to this moment. It's so very crazy.
Oh.
I'm just happy Rocco is not there anymore.
Me too. And speaking of Rocco, so they have their own laws, their own rules now. They have a data page which pretty much breaks down the rules. One of them being like, you don't want to land anywhere other than Port Prometheus, okay? Careful. Yeah. Araco is the first mutant world. Love it. Attempt no landing except at Port Prometheus. Love it. Can't wait for that to happen. You know someone's going to land. Araco is the capital of this solar system. That's why the humans are so pissed off.
That's what they're mad about.
And then finally, hold fast. Hi there. For a message from the Regent of Soul. Hold fast. Hold fast. For a message from the Regent of Soul. You know who I think that Regent of Soul is?
Who?
Miss Aurora Monroe.
Oh, really? Oh.
I think Storm is queen of the fucking solar system now. Oh. Hold fast. It's a marauder. It's Storm. Like, they show like this her walking into a giant chamber. The fucking regent of the solar system is Storm. That's her next big storyline that Hickman's been cooking up for her.
I also want to see, like, what can she do in space?
Woo!
What can her powers do in space? That hasn't been fully explored.
I can't believe Storm is the queen of the solar system. I hope it's her.
I feel it has to be. If it's not, then it's bullshit.
Then it's bullshit. It's definitely her. That's why she quit the team.
Yeah.
And then I love the data pages in the back. Oh, first of all, I love that the fireworks, quote unquote, are them actually terraforming Mars in front of everybody's faces. I literally thought it was going to be like images and fireworks. Like, ooh, instead of making a heart like they can do now, they showed, I don't know, mutant ascension in the fireworks somehow. No, it was Iceman being like, hey everybody, look at me.
Yeah.
Iceman was the fireworks. God damn it. Happy Pride. Happy Pride!
And happy
And
X-Men.
then the data pages are like, the X desk is like, oh boy, we have a lot of work to do. And NASA's like, super cool.
But they're like,
like,
well, they are like, I love how it's kind of like
us, but
both of the rovers have been destroyed with the terraforming.
Oh,
so they're
that's
like,
so funny.
They're like, well, I hope, does this mean we can't explore? We'd like to like.
Can we not? Like, are we
it out.
done? I really liked the Mars project. I actually met Adam Stelter, the guy who is in charge of the landing team of the original Mars rover and the one that's on there now.
The gay one?
He's probably shitting himself. The rockabilly one. He's not gay.
Oh, he's not?
very rockabilly. He's got like the big pompadour and sideburns.
Oh, I just assumed he was gay.
No. But I had him speak at a corporate event a few times.
Oh, cool.
And he's great. He actually signed a Lego Mars rover kit for me. I still have it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, he's pissed. But interested.
Shall we?
That's the big... I mean, now we know why Krakoa is going to burn down during Inferno. Because they have a whole planet.
Shall we move on to the MCU?
Yes. Let's hit it.
Someone who watch superhero sci-fi stuff with me.
All right. We are now at our third MCU Disney Plus television show.
Yes. Loki.
Loki.
I wish Loki was done like the old Martin opening theme.
Loki.
Loki. Yeah.
Oh, no, you didn't.
What do you think, EvilJeff?
I am loving it. It's just so entertaining. It's great. It's great.
Oh, it's absurd.
Right? It's part of me is wondering,
which actor?
I was just saying, part of me is wondering, I'd be interested if someone watched this without watching anything else, if they'd be able to enjoy it.
Listen, at this point,
who cares?
You gotta watch everything. Like at this point, it's like you've all been following along since the beginning, right? Because we don't have time for the rest of you.
Yeah. So,
and rightfully so. How could you?
Yes. So basically, it picks up with Loki in Endgame steals the Tesseract and teleports away.
Yes.
And apparently, messing with that, I love how Tony Stark doing all the time shenanigans. Fine.
They're like, that was part of the timeline.
But I think what they're saying, but Loki doing that, it was like, nope, you were supposed to die.
Nope. Bad boy. Yeah, you're supposed to die. Very Donnie Darko. You were supposed to die. Look what happened. You created an alternate reality where everything is fucked.
So as Loki teleports away, we finally get to see where he teleported to. He goes to Mongolia. And then along comes these like time cops played by the girl from what is it?
Lovecraft
Country.
Country. Ruby, who would turn into the White Woman. Yes. Love her.
And they basically come and arrest him. And they get the goods on him. Even though he's a god and all-powerful, these people have more power than him. And they take him to a world where his powers don't work. And it's a very, like, it reminds me of, like, Legion, where he goes to. You know how, like, Legion, like, it was sort of futuristic, but also sort of very retro.
That 70s
kitsch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of wandering around trying to figure out, like, where am I? They're basically, like, sending him through all these things, like, go here, go there. And he's kind of, like, just not taking it too seriously until the guy in front of him gets, like, vaporized.
Right. Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, shit, nope, I have my ticket. I'm doing everything right. And then he goes to a trial, and they're basically like, you aren't supposed to be here. You are a variant. And we learn, as he's walking through, is it Miss Minutes?
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes describes that actually 3 lizard-looking people called the Time Lords?
Timekeepers.
Timekeepers. The Timekeepers, basically, there were so many variant times that it was just like too much. Everything was being crazy. So they need to keep it down to just one timeline. And anytime something breaks off into a new timeline, they have to put the kibosh on it to keep it down to one.
So fun fact about Miss Minutes, the animated clock, that kind of, provides the exposition, the trivia, voiced by Tara Strong, who was also the voice of Tommy Pickles in Rugrats.
Love it. Well, I mean, she's Tara Strong. I mean, she's the voice of...
Oh, she's the voice of everything.
I was going to say, Tara Strong and Cree Summer are the voice of literally 75% of every cartoon character. Yeah. Like, she's Bubbles. I watched a video of her.
Harley Quinn. She's Barbara Gordon.
I mean, there's a video where she just goes one by one through them, and they all sound so different, and you're like, you are a genius.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes to trial, and before he gets sentenced, I guess, to be evaporated, by the girl, the judge, the magistrate, is the girl from, Fast Color.
Yeah, Gugu Mbatha Raw.
So it's like, yay, good to see you again.
Love her.
But then, who comes to save him? Wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, it's just
Owen Wilson.
Wildcat.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, it's Loki.
Let me tell you something. I have not realized how much I love Owen Wilson until Loki. I have not seen Owen Wilson in a thing in quite a while, 5 years, maybe more. And I just forgot how much I love him and how great he is.
Yeah.
And what a welcome addition to the MCU he is.
I have a question. So he's, what's his name again? Mobius?
Mobius Team Mobius.
Mobius, I'm assuming that's a Marvel character.
Yeah, the TVA was in Thor.
Okay.
Started out in Thor. Mobius Team Mobius was in Thor. I think they may have then moved into She-Hulk. They were part of She-Hulk also. I could have made that up. But yeah, no, they're Marvel. He's Marvel.
But I'm curious of is his character very similar, where it's like a pencil pusher kind of?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Very mustache, bow tie, the whole nine.
The other thing I love is when Loki tries to escape and steal the Tesseract back, he finds a drawer full of Infinity Stones, and
this
realizes
hilarious supporting character
who
works at the TVA.
He's like the best friend of Jason in The Good Place.
Yeah. It's very Jason in The Good Place, very Phil from WandaVision.
Yeah. And that's where Loki realizes these people are more powerful than me. I must take it over.
Of course. Because this is Loki, remember, who did not go through the character development of Thor Ragnarok and Thor the Dark World all of that, Infinity War. This is Loki right after the end of Avengers, the original.
But he watches it.
Villainous Loki.
He does watch it. He watches what happens to him.
Everything we've seen. Yeah. He sees his mother's death. He sees his own death.
He sees him reconciling with his brother.
Yeah. And he's affected. He cries.
He also just kind of doesn't know what the hell. He kind of is I just want to take over everything. But now he's kind of
why?
None of that matters anymore.
Yeah, Mobius is very much like a head shrink. He gets Loki to admit, I'm not evil, I'm just afraid.
And meanwhile...
I'm not evil, I just hate myself.
Yeah, and meanwhile, there's another dude that's causing, killing people, time cops and stuff.
Killing the TVA agents, we find out the reason Mobius Team Mobius has scooped Loki up and prevented him from being disintegrated for being a time variant is because he needs Loki's help to catch this rogue variant that's killing all of the TVA Minutemen, and that rogue variant is another Loki.
Okay, so this was where I need a question. I'm going to have a question for you because this goes into episode 2. And they kind of start explaining it. And they're it's always the Loki is one of the most problematic. A Loki is always causing variance, of course, because he's the master of mischief. But they kept showing that every Loki was different looking. Some were monstery, some were this.
Yeah. Well,
but I was but if it's one timeline, how did he become different looking?
Yeah, it's kind of it's one timeline in our perspective because the TVA has kept it as such, but things have been happening that are outside of our awareness where Loki has escaped, probably far into the future, probably way back in the past, where Loki has been able to veer off the timeline. And they have to, it keeps being Loki, which is so interesting. And the reason we don't know is because they've managed to cut off that branch. And so we're unaware of when or how or why any of those branches or variants happened, but it's always Loki.
And I will say, as soon as I started seeing the outline of the person of the evil Loki is always cloaked and you can't see their face, I was that person is smaller. And we do know, we do know there's been a female Loki, and we do know there has been a child Loki. So I was it's either the kid Loki or the child or the woman Loki.
Absolutely. So it turns out at the end of episode 2, it's the woman Loki.
Is it?
Or is it?
I don't think it is.
Closed captioning has her dialogue listed as Sylvie. And Sylvie is a character from comics rather recently. When Asgard took over Oklahoma, Broxton, Oklahoma, in the comics. So this was around Fear Itself era. Loki gave some Oklahoman girl, Sylvie, magical powers. She would then become, and she had short blonde hair, just like Sylvie, just like the woman in this show. she would become the new kind of like Dark Avengers Enchantress. So Sylvie was a human who Loki gave magical powers to, and she identified as the Enchantress. This is not, I believe, the same character as female Loki, which is Loki.
I feel if it was, that's why I feel it would have it would have looked more. It would have had like brunette. It would have been brunette.
Yeah. But Marvel did tweet out Loki's TVA variant form, like entrance form, and under gender it says fluid.
Yeah.
So this could be a Loki who just calls herself Sylvie.
Yeah.
However, talking about Kid Loki, they keep calling Loki a scared little boy. All I see is a scared little boy. They say it like twice. I think that has to. That's a portent to that fact that we will see a little boy Loki later.
Well, that's the thing is, but maybe Sylvie was given her powers by boy Loki, and that is and he's just having her do all the grunt work.
Maybe. Or, well, Richard E. Grant is in this show as well. We haven't seen him yet. He might be an older, more evil Loki as well.
I want Kid Loki. I love Kid Loki.
Yeah, and I want it to be the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard.
Love it.
The thing that I thought was super interesting, though, so they established what a nexus event is in this show. So a nexus event is when a variant veers off the sacred timeline created by the Timekeepers, and I'm going to ask you a question about the Timekeepers in a little bit. When a variant veers off, they create a branch, which is very Endgame, right? Like if you do something different than what's supposed to happen, you create a branch timeline. And then the whole point of Steve Rogers at the end of Endgame going back and returning the stones is that they were snipping those branch timelines off. What we didn't know is if those branch timelines exist for too long, they become unsnippable. They become a nexus event, and they start to pretty much destroy reality as we know it.
Wait, was that said in the show?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the whole
that's why they have the timeline. That's why the timer's going down.
Yeah, like when Wunmi Mosaku's character, she was like 2 units left, 1 unit left when they were at the Ren Fair. It's because you only have so much time before you have to disintegrate that event or shit goes down. So a few things. Number one, at the end of episode 2, Lady Loki, Sylvie, creates a number of branches. So that's a problem. It seems like too many branches for the TVA staff to deal with. There is WandaVision, going back to WandaVision, where they had the pharmaceutical commercial for Nexus.
Oh.
The whole thing about are you sad about your own reality? Go into a new one, Nexus. I feel like what Wanda did, bringing Vision back, creating all those realities, was likely a Nexus event that disturbed the universe. And this brings me back to a line from episode 1 from Tommy Pickles, Miss Minutes, who said, if a Nexus event goes on for too long, it will veer into madness, creating a problem for the multiverse. I would have to think those are deliberate words, because Doctor Strange 2 is called
Multiverse of
Madness. Also, you've got What If coming. I really think that the Lady Loki dropping the bombs, creating the branched timelines, I feel like that Loki, if that's Loki, created the show What If.
That would be amazing that that's so crazy that the What Ifs now fit into the plot of Loki.
I think they really are part of the MCU proper. It's not just hey, it's a cool Marvel show. No, it's part of it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So cool.
Loving it.
So Doctor Strange he's going to have a lot on his plate after Wanda and Loki get through whatever they're getting through. But I do think we'll see Richard E. Grant as the evil Loki. Perhaps it is him behind this Sylvie, Lady Loki person. I would like to see Loki identify as gender fluid and that this is actually a Loki variant. I would love that, the woman.
That would be fun.
See. Oh, my goodness. I can't wait for the next one. I really can't.
But you're going to have to.
Oh, no.
And you listeners are going to have to wait till next week for us to talk more because we're done.
We're done.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for listening. All right. Thank you so much for listening. What a time to be alive. The Hellfire Gala is in full effect. The X-Men are on Mars. The multiverse is being created in the MCU. Stick with us. We are going to dive in hard to all of these things and more. And remember, if you read these comics we talk about, well, then you really want to stick with us because that, my friends, reading comics, that is, makes you queer. So happy Pride, you queers.
Bye.
Bye.
Shazam!